Hey guys, what's up? I hope everybody is having an amazing week. And before I dive into this message, I want to say a quick thank you to the person who did last week's message, Rebecca. Thank you so much. Your message was really, really good. I appreciate the effort and the time that you put in to making it for everybody watching. Thank you so much. I can't say thank you so much. You did a great job explaining prophecies and all the things that led up to Jesus' birth. So to anybody watching, if you didn't watch Rebecca's little message, totally go and do it. Go and watch it. It was awesome. So that leads me to this week's message. And if you had to guess, probably guess right, we're going to talk about what happened when Jesus was born. And I'm going to be reading a lot from Matthew chapter 1, specifically verses 18 through 25. And it's a lot, so read along with me. And yeah, we're just gonna dive right in. So, Matthew 1, 18 through 25. This is how the birth of Jesus, the Messiah, came about. His mother Mary was pledged to be married to Joseph, but before they came together, before they did the deed, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. Because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. But after he had considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save people from their sins." All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. When Joseph woke up, he did what the angel of the Lord had commanded him and took Mary home as his wife. But he did not consummate their marriage until she had gave birth to a son, and he gave him the name Jesus. Now, that's a lot to take in, so feel free to just read it again while I'm talking, or pause it and read it. But all of it is amazing in and of itself. We have Mary and Joseph ready to get married, and one day Mary's pregnant and Joseph is not the father, right? I think that's Murray, the show. You're not the father. Joseph is definitely not the baby daddy, and he knows this. And I know if I were in Joseph's shoes, I'd be freaking out. I'm just going to be real. I'd be more than upset. My house would be a mess. I would be screaming, and, I'd have a super long Facebook post. I would have not have thought to handle it like Joseph. You see, how he handles it is way better than me, or probably most likely anybody would ever handle it. See, he thinks about handling it quietly because he's a righteous man and because he cares about Mary. He doesn't want to publicly disgrace or humiliate her. And that got me thinking that the story of Jesus is about love and integrity even before he was born. And that kind of blew my mind. You see, Joseph loves Mary so much that he doesn't want to humiliate her, even though it seems as if she did the worst possible thing someone can do to their spouse. And that's the kind of love that we all strive to find, and we should all want to give to one another, not just your partner, but everybody. You see, if that happened to me, like now, like the same exact situation, I'd be livid. I'd be uncontrollable. There'd be a Facebook rant, and there would be a whole lot of tears. But Joseph has the respect, and he has the faith to still be a good and righteous man. And I say the faith because after he has those thoughts of divorcing her, even quietly, he has a dream from the angel, and he chooses to believe it. He chooses to believe it, and he eventually sees it play out. Now, you'll see how it plays out in future videos. Spoiler alert, we all kind of know the story of Jesus, but I'm just going to dive in more videos. But realistically, he was a righteous man and a good man because he followed the law in quotation marks. the Old Testament law, the Old Testament way of doing things, with Moses and Passovers and sacrifices, and he followed all of that. So he had a background in order to have faith in situations like that. God didn't give him more than he could handle, just like he doesn't do with everything else. I totally lost my place. Anyway, he chooses to believe what the angel says, and he sees it comes to fruition. And at this time, as a woman, nobody would talk to you. Like, if you were married and you were pregnant before you were married, nobody would talk to you. You were basically just thrown out of society like an outcast. As a man, if your wife was pregnant and it wasn't yours, you weren't really, in quotes, a man anymore. See, I want to have faith like Joseph. And I want to have the ability to love someone the way that Joseph loved Mary. See, the birth itself is the most important thing. The birth of Jesus is the most important thing ever in human history. But the faith and the love exhibited beforehand, I would argue, is the closest second, as in almost tied with that event. Now, you probably think that's crazy and that's a big statement to make, but just kind of bear with me and think about it. If Joseph didn't choose to believe what the angel had said to him in his dream, Jesus, in theory, could have never been born. Let's just be real here. If he handled the situation the way the majority of people would have handled it, Mary most likely could have been killed with Jesus still in her womb. And in theory, Jesus would have never been born if Joseph didn't have the faith that he had. And that's a faith that I strive for. That's a faith that I hope that I have one day. And that's a huge thing. And the love that he has to even get to the faith that he has is insane. The fact that he loves her enough to not tell the whole world that, hey, she's pregnant and it's not my kid is insane. It's a great love and respect level that we should all strive for as people. So yeah, Jesus was born of a virgin. But the faith and the love that goes into that story starts off the story of Jesus the best way possible. This is kind of like foreshadowing. If you really think about it, this is kind of like foreshadowing, because you see the amount of love and the amount of faith that Joseph has before Jesus is even born. And then Jesus goes and preaches about the love and the faith that was exhibited before he was even born. And that's kind of mind-blowing. So hopefully you stuck around this long, and hopefully you're reading along with me, and hopefully you may have agreed with some of the things that I said. And the things that I say in this, with regards to some of the statements that I made, meaning that the faith and the love that Joseph showed was almost like really, really close to being one of the most important things ever, you may disagree with that. And if you do, that's totally okay. Because at the end of the day, Jesus being born is the most important event in human history. And if you think that something else is a close second, that's all. It's all for you. I'm just giving you guys my opinion as fuel for thought. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you have a great week. Hopefully you have had a great week up to this point. And if not, hopefully everything will go the way that God has planned it for you. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Have a great week. Thank you.